some of the commands that you have already learned earlier, so I don't have much need to put any emphasis. I just write them quickly. So matplotlib inline, you all know what it does. Import numpy as np and import matplotlib as plt. These we are going to use as our default libraries. Now going ahead, let me show you how do you open an image or read an image from your drive. So that can be done quickly. So I would write img. This is my basic image, so let's be little careful about the nomenclature. img1 is my plt dot mread bracket and quotes, and then I can put the path of the file that I want. So I want to, I've created a special image. I will show you in a while. I'll copy path, three dots, and then copy path, and then you place the path here. You have placed the path here, and then we will try. So this is the reading the image. You are actually reading the image and assigning it to a variable called img1. So we are all familiar with this. Now we can go to another command by which we will try to display this image on the screen. So before we display, you know that PLT is basically used for plotting. It will show the axis by default unless you switch it off. So you just have to mention off and it switches off. PLT.axis turns off, and then you can write plt.imshow and img, and this is my first image, so I will write img1. Okay, and that should do the trick. So let's play this code and see what happens. We hope everything goes well. Yes, so here is my image. You can see that, as the name suggests, it's RGB stripes. So this is a red stripe. You have a highly saturated red. Here you get a zero intensity red, green, highly saturated, and very less saturated green. Same for blue. So these are my three striped image. Now remember, we have done in the theory that every image, every RGB, every color image is composed of three components: the red component, and the blue component, and the green component. In fact, we have learned the RGB color model also. So like just let me deviate from the programming and just very briefly show you how it works. So give me 1 minute. So I'm going to share another tab in which I will just very briefly go through RGB color model. So you have your three axis, red axis, green axis and
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
You can go really briefly because they have done today only RGB and CMY model.
Oh, today only. Oh,
Yes,
then I'll just go very briefly. Yeah.
yes.
I just need for one thing. So uh, I thought it might have done few days behind. So with a bit of revision, I'll go very quickly. Fine. So you know that it's a cubical model. You have done it. So you are here, and that's your cubical color model. We all know that this point is black, this point is maximum white, this is red, sorry, this is maximum green, this is red, this is blue. I'll come to it a little later, but remember that this axis is important for us. So if this axis is nothing but your intensity axis, so we will learn that also. So since many of you remember this, let me switch the tab, and I can now switch the R, G, and B components separately. So, so once, if you see here that your R component, if you have maximum red, R value should be here, minimum red is here, same for G and same for blue. Therefore, in our program, we can write them. So the command for separating the three components here would be, I would write, so this is img1. So I will simply write r img1, and this is the red component of img1 image. So the command is img1, and sorry, like this, and then you put colon, comma, and write 0. The moment you do this, you actually extract the red component. You want to see how does it look like. So in that case, you have to print it. So I can copy the print command and do some suitable modification. So I can just have to change the names. So now I want to print RIMG. So this is RIMG, which has been created over here, and I want to now show that. So I'll run the command. So you can see that I got something. Now this something which I've got is a little fishy, um, because you get some weird color. You want a red component and you are getting some yellow, green, blue. So the reason for this is that the Python uses some random color mapping before printing the image. So if you want to fix the red component correctly, perhaps you need to put a color map. So you just put a comma and write CMap MAP. Yeah. And kind of parameters it can take, and other things are available over here that you can check later. Lot of info. The color map here that we can assign is in quotes REBS, I guess, if I'm not wrong. You don't write red, you write reds with R capital and plural. So now if you play this, you will get the red component very suitable. Look at the situation. This is very bright red. So here you get a strong red here. The red weakens as you go down. You can see that the red weakens. Very little red is here. And the rest of the colors, again, the component of red is very little. So here, very little red will be here, and here also. This way you can extract the red component from this image. Can you extract the other components? Answer is similarly yes. Now, if you want to do them in the single program, you can do them using the subplot feature. I would, for this demonstration, go separate. So let me try to extract the green component. So GIMG1, remember there I have used RIMG1. Be careful with your nomenclature. They should be clear and logical. And here you get the first component. I don't want this, and I want to put a green here. No longer want to print red. And you can guess here. This is GREENS. Because if you don't put this, I'll show you. Let me first put this and show. Remember, you extract the green. Very little green is here. Very little green is here. So you extract the green component from the original image. If you don't put this, then the color map selection by Python is fairly random. I'm not 100% sure whether its default selection is random, but yes, your output will go haywire. So you can see that output is different. So if you want to do it properly, you have to put the color maps, suitable color maps all the time. So we extracted green. Now let me quickly just do the next component. I've already here. So I want to do a blue component. So B here and a B here. CMAP would be, as usual, you can guess now, blues. So your blue will be extracted. What happened? Some issue, right? Yes, I'll tell you. You are still extracting the middle one. You have to extract the third one. Yes. So now you can see that you got your RGB. So if I put this arrow up, you can now see the whole picture. This is your original reading of the original image. This is the extraction of the red component. This is extraction of the green component. This is extraction of the blue component. Values on this vary from on the red axis from maximum to 0. Value on this varies from from green component maximum to 0. Value on this will vary on the blue axis from maximum to 0. So as I had shown you here, these three axis values we have extracted. How about the middle one, black and white? So you know that if you know all the three axis value, it's a cube. My drawing doesn't look like a cube, but it's a cube. So this is going to be an average of all three. So can we create a grayscale image by taking an average? Answer is yes. So let us do that part quickly. So I can go to the next bit of coding, and I would say I already got my red image, green image, and blue image. Now I will create a gray image. So GIMG1. Okay. So GIMG1 is going to be equal to your average of the three. So all I can do is I can say, see, average of the three is 1 by 3. 1 by 3 is 0.33. So 0.33 times the RIMG1, and then I can put them in bracket, plus green IMG1 plus blue IMG1. All these things. That GIMG1 is the average of the three. So I can write my, just copy paste from here, and put here, and now I'm printing GIMG1. So I will change this. Let me remove the color map and see what do I get. So I remove the color map. You can see that you get some value. But again, that random color map selection is on, so we have to fix that. Color map here is, I think, gray. Let's see if this works out. Yes, it works out at least, but still there is some issue. क्या issue है? RIMG is proper, GIMG is proper, BIMG is proper. I added the 3 divided by 3, so 0.3. Okay. I am unable to figure out the.
Sir, instead of point
So-
by 3, you can just
Yeah.
write divide by 3. I think that will be more accurate.
No, but the central should not come as a dark strip. It should be like this only. Like, see, red is very bright, so you need a
No,
white
you
value
can
even
point
dark.
Point
That is,
3 here you can write 3.
it's coming the same.
Sir, we are
Yes.
using GIMG for both green and gray, so would that be a problem?
हाँ, 1 minute. That could be a problem. You are correct. That is the problem. So yeah, you are right. Wait a minute. Let me change this. Now, if it is a problem, I'll have to go back and run all the program because the images have changed. Yeah. Oh, now what that stripe at the top. See, this is what was expected. If you all see carefully, you should get a very light at the top because all the colors were completely saturated. So very large value, intensity values are very high at the top. So you will get, in grayscale, you will get 1. That is 255. Here, all the values are dim. So you are expected to get this kind. I still unable to figure out why this thing is coming up. A boundary effect. Hmm. One minute. It was not there when I tried earlier. I'll show you. So here is my earlier trial, and it was not there at this time. So anyway, nevertheless, just I'll try to figure out the reason for this black strip, but let us ignore that and talk about the expected answer. You will find amazed to realize that these 3 strips are identical in grayscale. So even though they have different red, blue, green component, they are identical in the grayscale region. Now this also gives you some idea about changing the weightages. So suppose if you change the weightages along the 3 axes, you can create some differentiation here. So suppose if I say 2 star into red, and then others I leave as it is and I run again, you will find that here the weightage has changed. So that I leave you people to explore. Okay. Now I'm going to show you, this is a very artificially created image. I'm going to show you the same thing being run for a very another natural image. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat this code very quickly, just, and I'll show you only one or two components. So let me write here. So all I'm doing is I'm just changing my image. So remove this, go to the drive. Okay, take another image of copy path. You can copy the path, close this, come here and put one more and then print. So this is a proper an image kind of thing, lots of components. You can see that the green is seen, some sort of red is seen, some sort of blue is seen, but there's a lot of white, some gray. So we will try to extract them now here. I would give it another name rather. I would call it img2. So now let me extract the red component from this. So RIMG2 is equal to IMG2 brackets comma 0. This is going to be the red component. In fact, if you want, you can extract all the three components, put them in a for loop, and you can print all of them together. You can use a subplot kind of thing. So this is, let me just run this again because IMG2 needs to be running. And then again, I can just print it. RIMG2. So you can see that the color map still is, color map has gone haywire. So I just remove, put the color map. Don't forget that part. Color map is equal to column. Sorry. Yes. You take off the red component. Oh, where is it gone? Now. You can now see that this is extracted the red component of this. So to observe it very carefully, to see that if reds are there or not. Okay. So what is the area of maximum red here in this image? You will find that wherever it's white, you can see that there's a big white patch here, some white patch here, some white patch here. That is the area where the red is maximum. You can see here. Wherever you have a black means absence of all the colors. So the red is very light here, almost absent. Okay. So this is the red patch being created, being separated. Now you can extract the green and the blue components in a very similar way. So let me just make the corrections quickly. So this is I'm doing for green. This will become 1. This will become G, and this will become greens. Okay. Lina madam, if you can guide me through the subplot function. I think you have to do plt dot subplot. I'm not very confident about it. So that you can get both the plots together. Here I'll do blue. So this goes to 2. Red is blue. CMAP is blue. No.
Blues.
Blues. Plural. No. Subplot is not working.
So just take out subplot. It can plot only 2 images next to each other. Even that is also okay.
Okay. I put this. No, only the last one comes. So green must be appearing and then it is disappearing because blue is appearing.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. I mean, I have written a code which is a fairly long code. It puts in things in a loop and then prints all the 4 events. But that's a long discussion. I will just cut it short. So here comes the green component. Please have a look. And then I just put copy paste the blue component. So all of you please make a note here. Again, look at this patch. This patch always remains white. Can anyone tell me why? These patches are also white. If anyone
It is a
knows,
place where RGB value is 0. For
yes, you can see the original image. The RGB is fairly dark in this region. So if RGB value is very less, then you can see that if R is less, G is less, B is less, then you are very close to the black. So that will remain very dark. So that is what is happening over there. And wherever the RGB value is low, and you can easily guess. For example, the green component has a maxima in these trees. So you can see those maxima appearing here. And the blue component has a maxima in the sky, top portion. Here, in the blue component section, you will find that a maxima appears, but the blue dips over here, blue dips, less blue here. So this is how you have to split a given into 3 components. I hope this part is easy. The next exercise that we will learn is to convert into CMYK. So we will do, I will do the conversion to CMYK, and in homework you can do conversion to HSI or HSV, I think, as it is called in Python. So it's HSV. Intensity they call value. So let us go for it. So we all know here that the CMY values, or rather C stands for cyan, M for magenta, Y for yellow. CMY values are actually, depending on what scale you are using, 1 minus RGB value if you are using 0 to 1 scale, and if you are using 0 to 255 scale, then it is 255 minus individual values of RGB. Okay, so we will try to do this conversion. So let's go back to the this part. Let me just run all the tabs from the beginning so that they are refreshed. Their variables have expected outputs. Some issue is here that I need to check. So very quickly. So remember, in this we have kept all the variables with different names, different images. We have called them img1, 2, and their derivatives we have given different names. So none of the names are being repeated. So these images are available for us to process quickly. Okay, now let us put this conversion. When you are doing, I would always suggest that please try to put a text code here, because it's important for you and for us to check when we check your work. So you just write conversion to the CMY, cyan, magenta, yellow from RGB. It appears over here. You can do some little bit of, and you're done. So it's here. So let us first do the conversion in the first case, because here it is easy to visualize and see. So here my R component is RIMG1, GIMG1, and BIMG1. So let me create the 3 cyan component. So how do we do the nomenclature? IMG1 is my root image. Now remember, for gray or green, we have put a prefix. So CIMG1. So CIMG1 would be 255 minus IMG. No, sorry. Cyan is 255 minus red component. So RIMG1. Now I can go to magenta. So I can actually show you each one of them one by one in a very similar way. You can just write your axis off. You just write your plt.inshow, the name and the color map. I think the color map here you will be cyans, magentas, yellows. That's how you will use it. And you will get one strip at a time. Not doing that part again. You people can do that for yourself and check each component. So I'll create all the 3 components. So MIMG1 is equal to magenta component. Magenta is maximum minus green. So 255 minus GIMG 1. Okay, that's fine. And now yellow component. So yellow of IMG1 is equal to 255 minus blue component. So B of IMG1. So these are my 3 components. Now remember, if I print them, I will get three components separately. You can do that by using subplot. So I hope you're all familiar with subplot. Leena madam, have they done this subplot thing earlier?
Yes, sir, we know subplot.
You have not done it? Hello?
I think in SY we did na subplot.
Yes, sir, we know how to plot subplots.
Rajesh sir, I think it is easy. Means if
Yeah.
person don't know, he can go to the net and find out. Just 2 to 3 minutes job.
Subplot is an easy thing rather.
Uh,
I don't have to go into plotting each of them and see it. I would rather teach you another function which is actually used to combine the three images together, and that is dstack. It's a part of NumPy. So I want to combine these three into one. So if I have to combine, I'll just write CMY of img1. Okay, so nomenclature have improved. Now here it's np dot, np is numpy, dstack creates a stack of three images, one over the other, and somehow it takes double brackets, and then inside, I really don't know why it takes double brackets. I'm not so much familiar with NumPy. CIMG1, this is my first image. Then MIMG1 is my second image. And then this is YIMG1. This is my third image. As I said, by using subplot, you can print them separately, just like we did things on the top. You can print them one by one. I would rather like to combine them and then print them together. So I'm creating this as a combined image. Remember, it's a double bracket. So don't ask me because as I said, I'm new to NumPy. I have no idea why. Seemingly single brackets could have done the trick, but they want a double bracket. It doesn't work with single bracket. I did check.
So we are passing a tuple as a parameter and not individual images there. That's why.
Okay, fine. So here is the answer also, which is good. Many of you know more Python than us. I use this print command once again with suitable modification. plt.x is off, plt.im. So now I want to show this image. So, and I remove this for the time being and see what I get. So let's play. Yeah, here it is. So what you get is a cyan of this, magenta here, and yellow. If you want to refer to your original, you can see the original is here. So these are the, on a color wheel, they are opposite colors. So they all appear. Yeah. So that is how you can convert from one system to other one. So I'm doing one conversion, HSV from RGB to HSV and HSV to back, you can do. CMY to RGB I should have done, but it's simple. You can see that RGB, if you bring it on this side, then it's 255 minus CMY. So straightforward thing. I'm leaving challenging things for you people to figure out. Okay, now I repeat the same exercise with our real image. This is, remember, this is an artificially created image. So, yes.
Here you have used the function stack, na?
Stack.
So can we simply use the addition of this PIMG
No, addition I don't think will work. Here what is happening is it creates three stacks. That means the three components, the cyan, magenta and yellow components are saved independently. They are never added actually. And it is only at the time of showing or printing.
Because for we added na and took a average na, and then we plotted as a single image.
Yeah, but here what happens is, see, on a display device, to there are 3 pixels on this display. So you have to drive them separately with different values to make them appear as cyan, magenta, and yellow. While in the earlier it was a grayscale. So grayscale is plain average. So there you just create the average and give the value. So there is a slight difference. So
So
here for
just
every
add what
pixel
we
you,
give them if we simply add instead of using deep stack.
you can try doing it and see what happens. And let me know. If some result comes, then perhaps we will learn that also. But here dstack keeps them separate. And at the time of printing, the data from all the three goes together. Okay. So I'm just doing this for the image 2 now. So rest of the things simple. I just have to replace 1 by 2. That's an advantage of keeping nomenclature straightforward. So So I think I'm done. We have already played earlier code, so all these images are available. We just have to play this code. Okay. So this is the CMYK equivalent of the previous one. What we call as color negative. If any one of you have seen the negative, color negative of the, now most of you are born in early 2000s, and from 2005 or 6 onwards the photography is digital. So many of you might not have seen a film camera, but if you have any film, your parents or somebody, you can watch, you can see those, the negatives were in CMYK. So this is the CMYK or color negative. Okay. So next thing that we are going to learn now. So far I hope everyone have understood things, right? Anyone has any question or doubts? Okay, fair enough. If you have any, you can ask, but let us go ahead. Now I'm going to demonstrate a few things before we end this session, and that is how to plot or how to alter the color values. So we can alter the color values suitably. So to alter the color values, we can take any component and we can change its values. So let me just first take the red component in this image. Okay. So plt.access off, plt.aimShow, but I want the red component. So it's RIMG2 is what I want. We have shown it created earlier. It is there. Okay. You need to put the color map. Expected is red. So CMAP equal to red. So this is what is created. Okay. Now I can create a color bar also. So I will modify this and I will print a color bar. This is the color bar. So you can now see that the color values are represented in the color bar. Starts from 0, goes to maximum of 255. This is the color bar. Wherever red color is 0, it's white. So here. Now you can change the appearance of the image by applying some values. So it can, this imshow function can take those color values. So we can apply vmin. Let us say I don't want between 0 and 250, but I want only between 0 and 150. So I can leave vmin to be equal to 0, while vmax, value max and value minimum, I can bring it to 150. And now I play. Oh, some error. I did not put the comma. Anything else? I guess it's working. So now you will find interesting. Now you will look at the color scale. Color scale is between 0 and 150 now. You can keep it horizontal on this side or on the top. Look at those variations. They are available. So what has happened here is all the pixel values wait a minute. I'll just, all the pixels values which are above 150 has been now gone to red, that is 255. So you have squeezed the color scale. I just wanted to show you the original. So let me just add another and remove all this. So that we can compare. So this is 0 to 255. Very few are very saturated red. This, somewhere here, that's it. Now this is 150. So anything which is at this level, for example, few things are here and few things are here, they are all pushed to deep red. Okay. So now you are manipulating the range. Let me manipulate the range otherwise. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put V maximum at 255, but I would put V minimum as say 125, roughly halfway mark. So now you will find that all those lower values are eroded. 125 means anything lighter than this, lighter than 120. 125 mark is here, halfway between 100 and 150 here. Anything lighter than this halfway mark has been completely eroded, gone, totally gone. So you will find that all these values has been removed. So these are the techniques by which you can assign specific values to the given pixels. There are many others. You can write a for loop, find the size of the image, find a for loop, and then you can assign values specifically to individual pixels. You can do that for RGB separately, and then you can stack them together to create a pseudo image kind of thing. Listen to me, this is one exercise in the journal. So you can do it. All you need to do is take individual images, you assign them different grayscale values, change the grayscale values, and stack them again once again at the end to create the composite image, and see what kind of changes you see. So for example, I will show you. Let me now use no, this I'm not showing, this I'm just displaying. You have to use an imwrite command. So do an imwrite command, write this image as some other name, and use that to create the composite. So that you can do. So that we leave for you people to finish. So that is all from the desk side, from my side, our side. If you have any doubts or questions, please ask. If Lina madam or Rohan sir wants to add up anything to this, please add up.
Sir, I just wanted to ask, so the activity will be based on that our previous journal only, or you are modifying that also?
No, we can do those activities. I think 2.5 activities I myself have done it. The rest of the 2 activities they can do. So here is the journal. So convert RGB को हमने separate कर लिया, RGB को हमने अलग कर दिया.
Can you just share on screen, and if they can keep the screenshot later, I'll create assignment in Canvas.
Okay. So their activities would be, I think they have. So let me just, this we have done already, in fact. Load a suitable grayscale image with 3 dominant intensity region. So get one this kind of image. You can create in the PowerPoint. So open a PowerPoint slide, use shapes to create these shapes. Put red one place, green one place, blue one place. And then find out the red component, find out the green component, find out the blue component. So you will find that if you are finding red component, only this will display. If you are finding green component, only this. So it's fun. You can do this. We have done a similar exercise. Create the following 500 cross 500 RGB image in which the squares are fully saturated. You have to create 4 squares, green, red, blue, green. Again on PowerPoint you can do that. For example, I created that striped image on PowerPoint only, in which the squares are fully saturated and each of the colors is at the maximum intensity. So here 255, 255, 255, 255. So here in the red you will get this as 1 or 255. Rest 3 will be 0. And then you have to generate an HSI. So just like we have created the what is called CMYK, you have to create HSI. So that's a bit of a task. Why bit of a task? Because here is the conversion formulae. Here are the conversion formulae. Okay. So you start with your RGB values are known. So you start with intensity, HSI, V or I, R plus G plus B by 3. This I have already shown you. The average of RG and B is your intensity. Okay. Your saturation is 1 minus 1 upon intensity. So this is saturation. And the color. So color is very interesting. Let me The general formula for the color is H is theta, B minus if blue is less than green, and it is 360 minus theta if blue is greater than green. But what is theta? Theta value is obtained by using this particular formula, R minus G plus R minus B. Sometimes it's also written as 2R minus G minus B. Don't get confused. And this is 2 root R minus G the whole square, R minus B into G minus B. So that's the theta formula. So calculate theta, then put it in this and use an if statement to create the colors. So you create H values. So this is the four calculations that will help you to calculate the HSI. So that's the only big task that you have to do. So you have to create this image in PowerPoint and find its HSI. Remember, you don't have to use a function to generate HSI. You have to create your own algorithm formula and find the HSI. Describe the appearance of each HSI component. You can do it by in your own words, in your writing. Then saturation components of HSI image is smoothened using an averaging mask of 125 cross 125. Remember, this is 500 cross 500. So 125 is fairly large. From here to here, wait a minute. From here to here, it's 500. So from here to here is 250. So from here to center is 125. So if you have 125 cross 125 mask, then you are using a big mask here. So apply the mask. You have learned how to apply the mask. In a very similar way, you have to write the code for applying the mask. Remember, all the transformations which can be done in a grayscale image, they can also be done in color images. So you name it, you can do it. You can do thresholding, you can find histogram, you can find averaging, you can do bit plane slicing. Every action that you carry out in your normal monochrome grayscale images, you can carry out in color images. In that way, the images are not different. The only new thing that we have learned is how to split the color image into its component images, and if the components are known, then how to put back those components together to get the real image. So this again, you have to run a 125 cross 125. You will get a strong border effects. Describe the appearance again in your own words and repeat it for the hue image. So once you create hue, saturation and intensity, then you can work on each one of them using the filter. So that's a task for you. This is little involving. You have to work hard. This part is, I have almost done it completely. You just have to create a new shape and do and see if it works for you also or not. So that's, anything else? Again, load RGB image, write a code to convert into HSI. That is there, you can do, and you can use that also. Write a code to combine RGB channels to form an RGB image and execute it. So that we have already seen. We have used dstack. So nothing new here. Okay. So I can stop sharing this. Yeah. So you can stop recording also at this stage.